player had it. I think he wasn't.
Ah, that's so sick! Grand stratagem!
Does he have the showstopper here?
Oh, he does! Okay!
That's also gross.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is probably like the highest level match of Riftbound we've seen all day, and like I'm leaning forward in my chair, like I'm completely engrossed here. And welcome everybody to the Luxury Riftbound Champions Series. There's a $1,000 prize on the line today. We're already getting right into the games here. So my name's Anu. I'm here with John. We're gonna just cast some Riftbound today. It's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, very excited for today. Big cash prizes, lots of cool playmats, some giveaways throughout the stream. So it looks like we're starting here in game one. We got Jinx versus Sett. Both pretty aggressive decks, so they're both this is gonna be a pretty fast-paced game in my opinion.
I think so too. Yeah, like I played Jinx in the trial deck like for the first time at Gen Con like a few weeks ago, and the base trial deck was like it was really really fast. Now I don't think Jinx is really like a major player in the metagame right now, so anytime I see somebody actually bring Jinx to tournament, my eyebrows are raised and I am glued to the screen here. So we'll see what happens here. There's a traveling merchant that has entered. Is that Zon
Yeah.
Warrens, I think? Yeah. And Sett actually started with a turn one arena bar. So kind of slow start here for Sett. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Jinx is actually coming out of the gates swinging.
Oh goodness, that's like that's so many units here. Okay.
I think that's the fastest turn two I've seen in this game yet.
Yeah, like I've been told that like Darius has like the Darius hook deck has a really really fast turn two, but this is pretty comparable here. And it looks like it's because we've got two flame chompers that we discarded probably off of the Reavers or the Tom Kench.
Yeah, so the game plan here for Sett is he has to stabilize somehow, but that turn one arena starts very slow.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, putting Fiora into play turn two is kind of nice here. You can actually just immediately buff it with the arena bar, give it mighty, but instead, ooh, okay, that's kind of cool. Showstopper.
That's really good.
That will buff the Fiora, move it into Zon Warrens, and then good old traveling merchant. Which, like, I've been thinking about it, right? You know how like the community has kind of given names to certain cards. Pit Rookie has like become Pookie, for example. I really am pushing for this traveling merchant card to just be called Gumbo. I don't know why, but
I like Gumbo.
I keep calling him Tom Kench in my head, but I realized that Tom Kench is like actually like a legend. So that name is like reserved, kind of like a keyword in like
Yeah,
language.
absolutely.
So I make it canon. Gumbo. Yeah, what's up?
Speaking of stabilizing, I think that was like one of the best possible plays they could have done to stabilize.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I didn't realize that Flame Chompers was just 2 might, which makes combat really hard for this card. But we will move into the Monastery of Harana here and then keep the point lead up. Yeah, I guess I will say that putting the 5 might unit, because the other thing too is like 5 seems to be, well, no, Super Mega Death Rocket does 5 damage, right? So 5 is actually not the critical like threshold that you have to get to. You have to actually pass 5.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's ganking as well here from the mighty Fiora.
Yeah, Fiora's going to dominate this battlefield unless it gets dealt with.
And then conquering here of the Monastery Harana lets you consume the buff to draw a card. Okay. And then just reapply it again with the arena bar. So it's kind of just free value here, which is it's kind of interesting because like Sett is kind of like you described it, right? Like it is an aggro deck, and it is designed to just like flood the board with a bunch of like cheap units and then kind of like overwhelm your opponent by providing minimal resiliency with the leader. But in a lot of instances too, it does seem like you just play like mid range. Like this is what I was talking about more, like what you see here, right? Like this is bang, 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 3 units all in one turn. Pit
Yes.
Rookie, Daring Poro, and then Cythria as well. And this to me seems like massive stabilization here from the Sett player. Now I'm almost wondering, like, what do you do from Jinx's side? Like, this is the reason why Jinx has kind of been struggling. Is just like you're able to get onto the board very, very quickly. Like we saw 3 units on like turn 2 or something, right? But the problem is like your units aren't, they just don't keep up to par with everything else going on from the best decks in the format. So let's see what's up. All right,
Yeah,
now
the
we're
Fiora
seeing.
definitely recovered what looked like a very blistering start from the Jinx player.
Yeah, I'm also going to double down here. Like when you have the arena bar, it's almost like exclusively a card like Fiora that has to be put into play the turn after, because like Fiora at 4 might is cool, but Fiora at 5 might is just like, no pun intended, a game changer. So like, because the ability, like we saw there, to go from the Zon Warrens to the monastery to consume the buff and then draw the card and then just keep going again and again and again is, I think, what actually made the Fiora like a very, very nice payoff. If it was just 4 might, then it wouldn't have any of those special abilities and it would just be significantly worse. So funny enough, I think this hand that the Sett player has kept actually makes a lot of sense, even though it was slow. And we're seeing the payoff now. Now, what's kind of interesting here is like what the Jinx player is going to do. We do see the Falling Star come in to clean up a couple of the units, getting rid of the Poro and getting rid of the Pit Rookie.
Yeah, it's a pretty close game so far. Oh, that's that guy is going to be a problem next turn.
Yeah, Sett Brawler is kind of an interesting one. I think like in the early weeks for the meta. Oh wait, this is kind of interesting. So we're consuming the buff here, boosting Sett to 8, and then rebuffing Sett. Do we have a way to ready the Sett here? Like with the first mate? Oh, challenge. Ah, okay, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. It's like,
That
why are
makes
we
a lot
doing
of
this?
sense. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and it looks like there might be an Immortal Phoenix in the trash that we could have brought back with the Falling Star a couple turns ago. Electing not to, and then yeah, Fiora is just gonna be like, hey, I've got ganking. I'm gonna move from this battlefield to this battlefield. Cool. The 5 that's been penciled in just marks that Sett has taken 5 damage. Now, this is kind of interesting. Combat damage heals after combat and at the end of turn. So
Yep.
technically, Fiora moving from one battlefield to another doesn't heal the Sett because there was technically not combat. Okay, got it. So the Sett still has 5 damage marked on it, yeah. Oh, but it does start a showdown, which is probably where this get excited on the Jinx's side is coming into play. Although I didn't see what got discarded to the get excited. It is a cost, so uh oh. Okay. That is interesting. That's the 6 might unit that costs 10, but then gets reduced cost for each card in your graveyard. Looks like
Yeah, and discard is upon resolution of that card, so they had to know the buff beforehand.
okay. Well, that's actually really cool. So then the Call to Glory was like very preemptive.
Yeah, well, they can't respond once they know the damage number, so they just have to hope he doesn't have a big card like that.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
that's actually an interesting tech. I'm a big fan of Rasa personally. I think that card is underrated right now.
I think purple in general just doesn't see enough play yet.
It's a little more tricky and synergistic to build, where a lot of the other decks are kind of like more apparent
Straightforward.
as to what's going on.
Yeah. Like, oh, okay, I'm playing Kaisa. Well, I'll just put in every single removal spell and value spell. But then, like yesterday, I was watching an Annie player play, and That deck looked like it was popping off, but it was just like a mix of like all sorts of like strange interactions, like, I mean, Ride to Wind and things like that, right? Flash and just knowing how to leverage all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah, and he can be a pretty ridiculous tempo deck from what I've seen.
yeah. All right, Chompers is going to come into the Monastery of Harana. We're going to hide a card here. And then the other Chompers is going to go into the Zon Warrens. We'll discard Invert Timelines. Okay. And draw a card. We're at 5 points, so we're actually keeping it competitive.
Yeah, no, this game, it looks like Sett has it locked up, but I'm not going to discount the Jinx and say that she can't win this.
I'm a Sett believer. So last week, in a couple other events, this orange Sett as the chosen champion kind of emerged. Won the whole event that I saw, and it was really interesting to see just how Brawler was able to leverage its massive might, which it's like intuitive. Oh, big card, big strong. But in Sett specifically, like there were some really cool interactions, like where Brawler would go in and conquer something like the Monastery of Harana. You would consume the buff, draw a card off the Harana, sorry, and then because you conquered with Sett Brawler's ability, you'd be able to put another buff onto the card. And that sort of like value engine, I think, is really powerful. Something that we hadn't exactly seen in Sett. I mean, in general, like the boss has just its value comes through the passive ability, which keeps your units alive.
Yeah, it's Zanya's on a leader ability.
Basically, right? So then having this in addition to that, with this being the Sett Brawler, like I don't know, it's a very nice spin. Also, it's kind of interesting too, because like Sett is considered one of like the better decks in the format, and the Brawler compared to the Kingpin is much better in things like the mirror match. I think it's relatively even against like Kaisa. Like your Kaisa matchup is so good anyways that it probably doesn't matter. Um and what's the other two matchups that I care about are like what Victor and Yi. Oh, it's really good into Yi. Yeah, that's the other thing too.
Yes,
Like
it's
yeah,
very good into Yi. I agree.
yeah.
I'm a Yi main myself. That is my favorite current deck.
Nice. Yeah. I played Yi a couple times, and that tower defense playstyle is like super, super fun. And it's honestly actually kind of nice to see how the metagame is evolving. We got our very first new Kinko monk, which is great. So for those of you who are unaware, Kinko monk says on the card text that it must buff 2 units, but recently Riot released a quote unquote, like I guess our core rules or tournament rules or card rules or like some document like that, which actually said that Kinko monk is going to get errataed to not buff 2 units, but up to 2 units, which is
Yep.
massive for this card because earlier, like if you couldn't buff 2 units, you'd get 0 buffs.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that card as well. It's 6 power on a 4 cost unit spread across 3 different units.
Yeah, 6 power and Zanyas. Yeah, 2 Zanyas,
Yep.
in fact. All right. So it looks like Phoenix is in play here for Jacob. Phoenix, I think, is like one of the first cards that was like really hyped up about when it was spoiled. I mean, obviously, when people don't see like the full set, it's hard to like process and register everything in the full context and scope of Origins. But this card, was really, really, really like lauded and applauded for its stats and its recursion. Then kind of just like fell off the radar entirely. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see its application in Jinx.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple interesting places for Phoenix that are a little unexplored. Like I think Phoenix is like a Kaisa sideboard card for the mirror, and then also I think it's good in Annie as well.
Yeah, that makes sense a lot. Yeah, just have it in the mirror for Kaisa as a recurring source of value. Just another card that you have to answer. Meanwhile, Super Mega Death Rocket going to take care of Fiora here. And That's kind of nice. You use the Phoenix to get rid of the Sett passive, like the legend ability, and then you've gotten rid of what is maybe your actual target here in, well, the only target you can possibly get, because there's no other way to leverage the Phoenix. Actually, you could go after the Sett here with the Super Mega Death Rocket. How do you feel about going after the Fiora?
Oh, he has a Rasa. I was about to say, it looks like he might not be able to hold both battlefields here and could just lose to 8 point from double conquer. But that Rasa means he's still in the game unless Set has something to deal with that.
All right, Cythria going to come into the Zon Warrens, discard another Fiora, draw a card. And another Kinko Monkin. That's got to be really good.
That's really, really good. Um,
Okay, and yeah, I'm gonna guess that is game in its entirety. Then, yeah, looks
yes,
like we're picking up some cards here. Yeah, Kinko Monk gonna buff the Sett Brawler. Sett
and the
Brawler
other
consumes
Ginkgo
the buff.
Monk, and then they just go in at like 13, 12
Yeah,
power. Yeah,
yeah, just completely dominate. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's something that I have come to respect, and I think is slowly like mattering more and more and more as like this metagame develops. Like the first iterations of like the Sett archetype and the Kaisa archetype and all these sort of things had like a massive focus on playing the most obvious cards. Like Kaisa, for example, had very many copies of Singularity, and if you look at deck lists today, they've got none. And the reason you kind of reverse engineer that decision is like people are adapting to the critical breakpoints that have made themselves apparent. So like for example, in Kaisa, Falling Star deals 3 times 2. Singularity is 6, so any 7 might unit is really really good. Um, Sett Brawler is another one that Actually, I'm not really sure what the. Maybe you can answer this. What are some of the key thresholds out of the Yi deck that would explain the value out of Sett Brawler? Because I know like 9, 13, those are interesting numbers for Sett, because it's like, okay, you've consumed the buff, you've gained 4 might, but then you reapply the buff, and then that's kind of where you want to be with Brawler, at least, to be big, but then
absolutely.
also, yeah, resilient.
Yeah, I think Jinx is going to struggle with Set. Set just has so much resilience in its units. Even if you pop it once, they just bring it back. But maybe he has some sideboard spice for this matchup. I do like the Rasa main board, though. I think that card is good.
Oh, nice. Reavers and Reckoner's Arena. But yeah, basically, going back to my earlier point is that like as the thresholds get defined, then decks are going to start warping. And now what I'm finding is actually really important is just like having base might to like preempt, like force your opponent to act. Like that's kind of why maybe something out of like Jinx, like the Phoenix, is valuable, is because it's like swinging in for 5 and really just like puts your opponent under the gun and says, well, what do you have? And then you can kind of react appropriately based on that.
Interesting. I'm surprised there's not a 2-drop coming from Jinx on turn 1 here.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Stack deck, not bad, but
Double stacked deck. We are
okay.
digging.
Yeah. For
I wonder if they
Nocturne?
play Nocturne. That's exact. I was same mind right there.
I mean, it doesn't seem too bad, but also Nocturne is like you either love Nocturne or you hate Nocturne. I feel like there's no like in between.
Well, there's not many ways in purple red to look at the top like there is in other colors.
Yeah, good call. All right, Trifarian, Glory Seeker going to come into play here for our Sett player. Not going to come in buffed, which is kind of a downside, but and to me, I guess that would indicate one of two things. Either A, your other 2 cost units are better than Glory Seeker, or B, you just don't have any other 2 cost units. Glory Seeker is going to be met by a Immortal Phoenix from the Jinx player. And yeah, Glory Seeker is going to come into Reaver's Row here. Pretty safe combat. Oh, that's actually okay. This also explains it too very well then. Yeah. A nice sequence here. Cythria, Pit Rookie to buff both of your units now. So good sequencing
Yes.
here. Yeah. Phoenix is going to come in 3 might. It's going to get +2 from Assault. So that's 5 on 3. It looks like we are sending the Glory Seeker back to base. Did we consume a buff? Did I miss something?
Is it the location effect?
Oh, it's Reverse Row. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right. You're right. Literally said it 2 seconds ago and then asked, did I miss something?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and I was like, wait, oh, it's the location. You can just move
Yeah.
back one for free. Which is
All
going to
right.
make
So
for a very interesting back and forth on this Reaver's Row. I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of conquers and then passing back, and then
yeah, right. Like Reaver's Row is like the dynamic that it creates is kind of interesting. It really like rewards, in my opinion, like non-committal conquers. So you'll see mostly like one creature at a time kind of come into this battlefield, and then my other thought process here is that if that's how it's going to play out, the units that are the biggest are going to be the winners from that, right? So this kind of, well, I wanted to say keys back into Sett Brawler being really good here, but Sett Brawler's ability can only be activated on your turn outside of a showdown, so it would just be like a 5 might unit. If I continue to go down this rabbit hole though, Sett passive is probably really good with Reaver's Row because your unit will, you can always recall it backwards if the combat is favorable.
yeah, I'm struggling to see how Jinx comes back from this and takes over this game at this point. But maybe, oh, see, that's a huge tempo lead right there.
Yeah, you're talking about the Showstopper and the Kiana.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially because Kiana can just bounce itself back, so you can't actually kill it via combat. Like you have to cast a spell at it, which is their spells already cost. Uh, they cost power, and then Kiana has deflect as well.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about it a little bit more now. That's actually so annoying because like generally like the de facto way to go into sets like the boss's ability is like you beat the unit in combat, you force the legend ability to activate, and then you use a spell to kill it in base somehow, whether it's like challenge or whether it's like, falling star or something like that. But Reaver's Road just completely invalidates that strategy. So I feel like this battlefield, weirdly enough, is like better for the Sett player in this matchup than the Jinx player? Question mark.
I think so. I legitimately think it's helping the set player a lot.
All right, so Jinx Demolition is going to come in here. I believe has Assault 2, so that should be 6 might coming in against the Kiana at 5. And yeah, exactly what we talk about. She just retreats. Like, she doesn't need to commit.
Yep. So the set player is building a pretty overwhelming board advantage here. It
Yeah.
would take a miracle. It would take an absolute miracle for Jinx to come back from this. And I'm kind of
Yeah.
surprised they discarded the draw four because I feel like drawing into like multiple Rosses or some kind of like shenanigans like that is how you get back into a game like this.
Let's see what they play off of this after. Yeah, I think I agree with you, right? Which is like, oh, okay. Here's the Mega Death Rocket. Goes after the Glory Seeker. Fine. It's one of the few non-buffed units here. But that doesn't seem too great because you still have to deal with 4 other units. I guess it's like what I mean to say is it's like not efficient enough of a removal spell when your opponent has like you kill one
Yes.
and there's like 4 more that are exactly like that, right? So,
And better than that because this Kiana is still around.
yep. Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. Oh, fight or flight. Okay, that's not too bad. But then we also need to pay the deflect cost for that as well. This Kiana unit is something that's also just been like popping up a lot it lately. I think with the overwhelming presence of like Kaisa, folks have realized that Kiana in like, like the Sett deck, for example, with the passive ability is really, really hard to kill. Or Kiana out of like Yi. I mean, you probably have some experience with that.
I do. I do. I actually cut Kiana recently in my build. That's just mirror match and other things though were
Ah,
more
okay, okay.
important to me. But it is very good in the Kaisa matchup. That is definitely for sure. Any red matchup, like especially when they have things that have to target Kiana multiple times, your deflect is triggering, like the card is just really, really good. I think it's really good into red in particular.
But we may have accidentally recycled a rune that was ready rather than one of the exhausted ones here. But Sett is in play regardless. And yeah, it looks like we're going to see something similar from before, which is just consume the buff, showstopper. Sett comes in for 8, basically body slams this poor bird into the graveyard, and then scores another point here. And we're kind of getting closer to
Yeah.
that critical mass of, well, not critical mass, but the critical point threshold, which is 6. So once you get to 6 points, then you can start playing a little bit differently because you have the ability to win by conquering 2 battlefields in the same turn. So what I kind of expect to see like next turn is maybe like we go score our points and then we just pull our units back and we start setting up and forcing our opponent to commit to the board to catch up in points so that they have a chance to win. But then you see the double bind here, which is like, okay, well, you've got 5 units in base because you're stockpiling, and if I put 1 unit here, you're just gonna move in and kill it. So tough situation. Shows you the benefits of getting that early point lead. Okay, interesting stuff going on here. So we're gonna lead with our chosen champion Jinx, then play Get Excited. That's gonna discard Gumbo, the traveling merchant. And by doing that, we actually get to ready our Jinx. So now Jinx can go in to one of these battlefields. And so when I say Jinx, I mean purple Jinx is not ready. We have red Jinx coming in against the Sett.
Yeah, and then
Assault,
Set's just gonna use leader ability here.
yeah. 6 on 5 seems good, but not quite. Just checking audio real quick. Okay, cool. So now Jinx is coming into Reaver's Row, and we're just going to see the pit rookie back off. Nothing too exciting, nothing too scary. 2 cards in hand here for the Sett player. I feel like if one of them is something like Kinko Monk, like the game just ends on the spot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think if he has any way to buff this set this round, it looks really cooked, but it still looks pretty bad.
Yeah, even without the buff, I think. Well, the thing about Red Jinx is, for example, like this is kind of the downside to something like Assault. It's really good when you're attacking, but when you're not, your unit becomes understated, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Like, just like the base might of some of the units here from the Jinx deck, they just don't feel great.
No, not at all. And like they have the Rosses, which do have good base sets, but you have to see them. And there are only 3 cards like that in the deck. Everything else is like very tiny.
Yeah, in my mind, like I feel like Jinx would be a generally good leader for finding cards because once you just dump your whole hand, right, you're drawing 2 cards a turn. But if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't feel like this Jinx deck is drawing as many cards as I'd be expecting.
I think the Kiana is low key drawing more cards than the Jinx deck.
Yeah, you're right.
This Kiana is putting in massive amounts of work. It just came, it got slammed and never got answered.
Yeah, so
Which is where the
Kiana's
powers
ability.
of Sett.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's pretty dirty. So Sabotage now coming down, and
Eating a rocket. That's crazy.
okay, all right. This is where we route.
This looks like round is over.
Yeah, the Simpsons meme stop. He's already dead. Like raise the set up to 8 with its ability, and then play challenge, kill the Jinx in the base here. Sabotage is taking your only removal spell. Now you need you need not just one creature, but multiple creatures that can come in ready. And yeah, you can see the hand goes on the table. Just a couple of small creatures that units that don't interact well in the matchup, I feel. So Sett's gonna take it here in round 1, kind of decisively and in dominating fashion. I don't think this was
Yeah, no, that was pretty much over.